Hi, good morning, good afternoon and good evening all. Welcome to the second lecture from the sixth module. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about the various approaches to leadership. Leadership approaches consist of mainly three theories, that is, traits approach to leadership, behavioral approach to leadership and situational approach to leadership. First of all, I am going to discuss about the traits approach to leadership or traits theory of leadership. According to this theory, successful leadership depends on a certain traits or qualities possessed by a leader. Some of such traits are inborn and some traits could be acquired by a person by education, training and experience. It is the oldest theory popularized from the time of ancient Greeks. This theory is also known as great man theory because it is based on a set of traits which are common to great men. Researchers have identified the following traits of leaders: physical qualities, intellectual qualities, moral qualities and social qualities. Physical qualities of a leader consist of the condition of his health, vitality, endurance, physical and nervous energy, enthusiasm, forcefulness, etc. And the intellectual qualities of a leader consist of high intelligence levels, sound judgment capacity, the ability to teach, the scientific approach to the decision-making situation, decisiveness, self-understanding, ambition, desire for achievement, etc. And the moral qualities of a human being or a leader includes integrity, honesty, fair play, moral courage, willpower, sense of purpose, etc. And the last one, social qualities, which means the ability of a leader to inspire, to tactfully deal with the persons, self-confidence, empathy, initiativeness, knowledge of human nature, human relation attitude, etc. Then coming to the second approach to leadership, that is known as behavioral theory or behavioral approach. Actually, this theory attempts to describe the leadership in terms of what leaders do rather than what they are. According to this theory, leadership is a function of effective role behavior. Three main models of leadership based on this theory are Michigan Studies, the Ohio University Studies and managerial grid. Out of these three theories, you need to study about only the managerial grid theory. Then coming to the managerial grid theory, actually managerial grid is a leadership theory which is introduced by Robert Blake and Jane Morton. In this theory, they have developed a managerial grid, and that grid has two dimensions. One is concern for people and concern for production. Actually, the phrase concern for is meant to convey how managers are concerned about the production and the people or the human resources of the organization. Let's see the managerial grid developed by Robert Blake and Jane Morton. In this grid, they have identified 81 combinations of leadership style. Out of those 81 combinations, they have explained only 5 leadership styles. The y-axis of this grid shows the concern for people or the concern shown by the managers or the leaders towards the people or the human resources of the organization. And the x-axis shows the concern for production or the attainment of organizational objectives. From this grid, you can see that they have explained about 5 combinations of leadership style. First one is 1.1 and second is 9.1 and third is 1.9 and fourth is 9.9 and the last one is 5.5. Let's see what is the meaning of all these 5 combinations of leadership style. And the first one is 1.1 management. This style of leadership is known as impoverished style of leadership. In this leadership style, the manager or the leader do not have any kind of concern for the attainment of organizational objectives or for the welfare of the people working for the organization. He is least bothered about the attainment of objectives and the satisfaction of the people working for the organization. Then coming to the second leadership style, that is 9.1 management. That is also known as autocratic task management style or autocratic task leadership style. In this style of leadership, the manager shows maximum concern for the production activities of the organization. He is giving more importance to the attainment of organizational objectives and least bothered about the satisfaction of the people working for the organization. The 9.1 management or the autocratic task management leadership style is followed by a person who shows maximum importance for the attainment of organizational objectives or the accomplishment of or the completion of production work of the organization. And he is least bothered about the satisfaction level of the people working for the organization. Then coming to third leadership style, which is explained in the managerial grid, that is known as 9.1 management. The 9.1 management is also known as country club management style or country club leadership style. This is a manager or a leader who shows maximum concern for people and least bothered about the attainment of organizational objectives or the production activities of the organization. He is only bothered about how he can make the followers satisfied about the performance or the return they are getting from the organization. Then coming to the fourth management style, that is known as 9.9 management or team manager style. Actually, he is a person who gives maximum importance to the concern for people and concern for production. This is the most suitable leadership style for an organization. Then coming to the last leadership style, that is known as 5.5 management or middle of the road leadership style. This leader has medium concern for people and production. He tries to get adequate performance out of the subordinates through maintaining a balance between work requirements and satisfactory morale of the employees. Okay, these are the different leadership styles established by or introduced by Robert Blake and Jane Morton through managerial grid style. The managerial grid is a useful device for identifying and classifying managerial styles, but it does not tell us why a manager falls into one part of or another part of the grid. To determine the reason, one has to look at underlying causes such as the personality characteristics of the leader or the followers, the ability and training of managers, the enterprise environment and other situational factors. Okay, then coming to the third approach or third theory of leadership, that is known as situational theory of leadership. According to the situational theory, no leadership is the best for all times and in all situations. Leader effectiveness is the result of the situation in which the leader operates. That means a leader needs to choose the leadership style according to the situation in which he is working. Therefore, the situational variable should be analyzed before optimum style is selected. The leader should adjust his style according to the nature of the task, the style of the followers and the environment to improve his leadership effectiveness. The important situational theories of leadership are Fred E. Fiedler's contingency model, House-Path goal model, life cycle model, Redin's tri-dimensional model, Hayes' Blanchard model. Out of these 5 theories, you need to study about the 2 leadership styles, that is Fred E. Fiedler's contingency model and House-Path goal model. Okay, let's see the Fiedler's contingency model. Freddie Fiedler and his associate at University of Illinois came up with a contingency theory of leadership. This theory believes that people become leaders not only because of the attributes of their personalities, but also because of various situational factors and the interaction between the leaders and group members. On the basis of his studies, Fiedler describes 3 critical dimensions of leadership situation that help to determine what style of leadership will be most effective. The first one is position power. That is a power of a leader over group members arising from organizational authority. That means the authority get by an individual or a manager from the position in which he is working. Then coming to the second dimension, that is task structure. It means the extent to which tasks can be clearly spelled out and people held responsible for them. In fact, when tasks are clear, members can be more definitely held responsible for the performance than where tasks are ambiguous. Then coming to the last dimension, that is known as leader-member relations. It is the extent to which group members like and trust a leader and willing to follow him or her. Okay, these are the critical dimensions of leadership situation. Then let's see the Fiedler's contingency model. Depending on the high and low degrees of these variables, that is the dimensions of leadership situation, Fiedler developed 8 possible combinations ranging from most favorable to most unfavorable. The leader-member relations are classified into good relationship and poor relationship, and task structure is classified into highly structured and low structured. Then leader position power is classified into strong position power and weak position power. The most favorable situation is the one where the leader-member relations are good, the task is highly structured, and the leader has enormous position power to exert influence on the subordinate. On the other hand, the most unfavorable situation, that is cell 8, is one where the leader-member relations are poor, task is unstructured, and the leader position power is weak. Let's see the different leadership style introduced by Freddie Fiedler. To approach his study, Fiedler set forth two major styles of leadership, that is known as task-oriented leadership and relationship-oriented leadership. A task-oriented leader is a person who gaining satisfaction from seeing tasks are performed. The other relationship-oriented leader is a person who is always trying to achieve the good interpersonal relations and attaining a position of personal prominence among the followers of the organization. Fiedler suggests that a task-oriented style is best when the situation is most favorable and most unfavorable. In moderately favorable or moderately unfavorable situation, relationship-oriented style is the best. Okay, then let's see another important thing that is from Freddie Fiedler's contingency model, that is known as least preferred coworker. To measure the leadership style and determine whether the leader is chiefly task-oriented, Fiedler used an unusual testing technique that is known as LPC. He based his findings on two types of sources: scores on the least preferred coworker scale, which are the ratings made by people in a group of members with whom they would least like to work, and second, scores on the assumed similarities between opposite scale, which are the ratings based on the degree to which leaders see group members as being like themselves, on the assumption that people will like best and work best with those who are seen as most like themselves. Let's come to the criticism of Freddie Fiedler's contingency model. The first one is, this model is unidimensional. To suggest that leaders can be either task-oriented or relationship-oriented. In reality, leadership is a multi-dimensional thing. It is not necessary that a leader who is high on one dimension is low on other dimension. Rather, a combination of two may be found in the behavior of the leaders. Then coming to the second one, LPC is confusing and unreliable concept. As a measuring rod of style, LPC is a confusing and unreliable concept. Some studies have revealed that there is no direct relationship between LPC score and style. For example, one study suggests that the same person may obtain different LPC scores on different days. Then coming to the third one, it fails to explain why the same style is appropriate in most favorable and most unfavorable situation. Then the last criticism or last delimitation, it is very difficult to change the situation to fit the leadership style. Okay, these are the things you need to understand from the Freddie Fiedler's contingency model. Freddie Fiedler's contingency model is developed by Freddie Fiedler and his associates from Illinois University. According to this theory, leaders' effectiveness depend on the situational variables, and these variables are leaders' position power, leader-member relations, and task structure. And they have identified 8 combinations of leadership style, most favorable to most unfavorable. And he proposed 2 styles of leadership, that is, one is task oriented and one is relationship oriented. Okay, let's see the last theory from the situational approach to leadership, that is known as House-Path-Goal model. Path-Goal theory of leadership was developed by Martin Ivanas and refined by Robert House. The central idea behind the path-goal theory is that most effective leaders are those who help subordinates to achieve both enterprise goals and their personal goals, by defining the task roles clearly and by removing obstacles to performance. The term path goal is used because the leader smoothens the path to achieve goals by doing all necessary things that meet people's expectations. This theory categorizes leadership behavior into 4 groups, like supportive style, participative style, achievement-oriented style, and instrumental leadership. First one is supportive leadership behavior. It is a style in which the leader establishes friendly interpersonal relationship with the subordinates and shows concern for their needs and welfare. This style is suitable in cases when subordinates are working in stressful and frustrating situations or need support from the leader. The second is participative leadership. It allows subordinates to influence the decisions of their superiors, which may increase motivation. This style is suitable when subordinates are performing non-repetitive tasks involving their ego. By giving their participation in decision making, their ego will get satisfied. Then coming to the third one, instrumental leadership. It gives subordinates rather specific guidance and clarifies what is expected of them. It involves aspects of planning, organizing, coordinating and controlling by the leader. This style will provide more satisfaction to subordinates if they perform ambiguous tasks, because in such a situation they need directive rules, procedures, etc. to perform their jobs. And coming to the last leadership style, that is known as achievement oriented leadership. In this style, the leader sets challenging goals for subordinates and displays confidence in their abilities. This style is suitable in work settings which consist of ambiguous and non-repetitive tasks, which may create challenging situations for the subordinate. Researchers indicate that path goal theory is especially valid for upper level positions, where the behavior of leaders can have considerable influence on designing an environment for performance. Its application to routine production job is not much fruitful, because leaders cannot do much to make such a task more satisfying. Okay, these are the topics I have included in the second lecture of our sixth module. From this lecture, you need to study about the traits approach to leadership, situational approach to leadership. In situational approach, you need to clearly study about the Freddy Fiedler's contingency model, and from behavioral approach, you need to clearly study about the managerial grid theory of Robert Blake and Jane Morton. Okay, thank you.